Way back in the early 90s when Dr. Virendra Hegde got this idea of foraying into management education, he was very particular about two things. He was very particular that it should not be just another B school. It is not being done for profits. It's going to be something that is going to mark excellence right from the beginning. So he, in fact, roped in people from the IAMs into this, senior professors from IAM for drafting the curriculum and also to make sure that the orientation is right at the beginning. That's one. The second aspect that he wanted was, it was that Indian ethos should be emphasized on and on and on again. Meaning, ultimately, if you look at our vision statement and mission statement, it is actually creation of global leaders with an Indian ethos. And that's what we have been trying to live up to in the last 25 years. It's an elaborate process that we follow. For a particular academic year, it typically starts in June. We start our operations in January when the faculty team for each area looks at various websites all over the world, as well as with our partner institutions, and finds out whether we are missing, whether there is any addition, modification, or deletion to our list of courses that is required. Then they discuss among themselves about addition and also about some pedagogical matters. This is consolidated in what we call as a faculty retreat meeting, in which all faculty participate in this presentation, and collectively for the institute, forgetting the areas, collectively for the institute, what's best it will get discussed. Then we present it to the advisory board, which consists of very eminent academics as well as corporate executives, and then their views are taken. We also side by side discuss with our placement support corporate entities. So all this process takes place from January up to early April. And by early April, we are able to flow to the electives. Well, coming to the electives, we have streams in marketing, finance, operations, systems, and HR. And we have also modular specialization in business analytics and microfinance. And all this have been evolved over the years. It's not as though we had it all the time. Business analytics and microfinance has been introduced over the last 3-4 years based on the demand from the corporate as well as the demand from the students. So it has been happening. We have tried to be as contemporary as possible. And wherever we lack expertise in the faculty, we have been very ready to borrow from our sister units abroad, as I said, or from eminent visiting faculty. Ever since we went into the new campus in 2003, we started attracting students from all over the country. It was maybe in 2013, that we seriously started thinking about going in for international accreditation. We thought that we have everything. We had everything at that point of time to merit accreditation, but the whole process has been very illuminative as far as we are concerned as well. And now you asked about AACSB, and we actually went in for whatever reason, we originally went in for EFMD. And because it's a single program, single institute sort of concept, it was very unique for them, because normally what happens is in any particular institute, you've got several programs running. And this was entirely single program, single institute, and it fitted beautifully with what they used to call as E-Pass at that point of time. Now it's called EFMD accredited. And we got it accredited then, and we also got the renewal of the accreditation last year. Subsequently, a lot of things have happened. In fact, they have also nominated me into the EFMD accreditation board. And we have very serious plans of trying to go in for EQUIS. Again, the question is, we have a single institution with a single program, but now we fancy that we are wide-based, so we can actually go in for that. Along with that, there is a concrete plan of converting the membership of AACSB into actual accreditation over the next 3 or 4 years. But I suppose a priority would be to do EQUIS and then probably go to AACSB. There's been another debate that we have been having. The question is, we used to have cutoffs, which 80 percentile, and all those things have created a difficulty because, statistically, it has been established all over the country that, you've got both types of errors happening in the terms of students who have very high CAT scores and other things may not be actually doing well and other way now. So we have been trying to give some percentage of marks for CAT and competitive examinations, but have relied more on our own assessments in two aspects. One is the consistency. As I said, we give a lot of value to that consistency from the 10th standard, 12th standard, and the degree, and what sort of percentages they get. We, in fact, have scholarship schemes for rewarding them for that consistency. Secondly, 40% of our total evaluation is based upon the group discussions and interview that we have, and only about 20% goes into a competitive examinations grade. But having said that, it all works out in a different way when you have a rank and all that. It is that we have, generally speaking, about 75, 80 percentile is what has happened. But again, this time also, we want to publicize that we are not looking at cutoff specifically. We are going to have students from every area, provided they have excelled in some other fields, to come into the fray. Ever since we moved into the new campus in 2003, we have had students from 20 states, minimum of 20 states all over the country. So that itself gives rise to a lot of diversity. It's an India within the campus, if you like, and there are several ethnic festivals that these students indulge in. As far as gender diversity is concerned, it used to be as low as 25% some time back, but now it's slowly risen. It has come to 35 to 40% right now. And that is as far as gender diversity is concerned. But then the most important thing that we had to take a deliberate position on is about the educational minimum threshold for coming into the program. Again, typically like every other B school, up to 2010, we were basically attracting students from the engineering background and wanted people with work experience only. But now times have changed. Times have changed even in corporate recruitment. And we have seen several corporate bodies change their recruiting patterns to freshers. They want also people from different backgrounds, and it can be taken. So what we try to do is we look more at consistency. People who have good marks in 10th standard, 12th standard, and the degree, more than 70%, more than 60%, that is given one particular weightage. And then we also look at their performance in terms of communication in the personal interviews that we have. So while it may be a good advantage to have certain things like science and some other traditional, I would say conventional streams, we are not been shying away from any other disciplines as well. In fact, we have had a couple of doctors who have done PGDM here. For the last 3 years, we have been having absolutely no problem about completing the 100% before December. That has been the sort of thing that has happened. Well, the average salary last year was about 7.02 lakhs per year, and the maximum salary was about 10.35. And the minimum salary was about 5.48 or something. So this was actually the range last year. And we had about 44 companies which came into the campus to select these 180 students. So that is how we had last year. This year, we are expecting a slightly different combination because it's going to be slightly delayed. It's not going to be over in December, that we know, because everywhere placement processes are just about starting. So that is one. And secondly, the companies may be loath to have the same number of recruitments per college or per institute like previous year. So we may be probably requiring a little bit more companies. So we are expecting about 60 companies to be in the frame. We don't really anticipate a problem, but that's the way. It's early days as yet. Actually, we are all very proud of it, and students who have gone through this course here have also been very happy with the infrastructure that we give them. We give them single rooms. Each one of them gets a single room. We got a Wi-Fi right through the campus, of course, and then we got wonderful databases and also a great library. And it's a mess that we have made very sure that it caters. It's a vegetarian campus, of course, but subject to that, we have made it very sure that the students are happy and comfortable. And that's about the infrastructure. The classrooms are all air conditioned, and all the other basic facilities for recreation, study, and discussions are all there. Coming to the second thing, and it's always a question, it's always a big question as to whether it should be in a metro or not. Now, sometimes when people are not familiar with our campus, they may probably think that it's offbeat. It's actually away from Bangalore. It's about 150 kilometers away from Bangalore. So how is it going to be advantageous to them? Now, there is that difficulty, but Over a period of time, we have overcome that. People, the word of mouth has gone around, and people who have visited us have also been able to spread the message about having this not too far away from Bangalore. Now, Mysore is also connected by air, and we have very frequent transportation facilities to Bangalore as well. So it's not really going to affect. Earlier, in the earlier part of our campus life, we had this difficulty of bringing corporate for placements into the campus because Mysore was far away. But now it's no longer that case, and we are able to easily. In fact, we have felt it as an advantage. We are away from the real hustle and bustle. At the same time, we are not too far away. It is still a city. Mysore is a lovely city, and it's not too far away from anywhere. Students had already all been appointed for internship jobs in March and April 2020. But then suddenly, because of the pandemic, many corporates had not adjusted themselves to working online and all that. So we had some difficulties. About 40% of the students had to be given a different alternative internship. Fortunately for us, locally, we were able to do that. Some of them who were academically inclined, we were able to do them corporate projects and database projects, which was study plus dissertation, if you like. And so we converted that opportunity. We converted that into an opportunity and made them do some academic basic work. Well, but as you say, the pandemic has been a problem, or will continue to be a problem in the coming year as well, unless, of course, we quickly overcome that with the vaccine. Because, as far as internship, everything being through online, internships and people who are guiding the interns, that sort of aspect is taking a little bit of a beating. And so it is there. We are awaiting the details. So far, the indications in respect of placements for the current year have been good. And we have been working on all that. And we have been also working on equipping the students, because they're missing one aspect now. They're missing the aspect of campus life and missing the togetherness. But we are working on giving them compensatory thing. We were one of the earliest institutes to start the work in for the current academic year. We started our classes for the current year in June itself, and so far we are up to date with both the terms having been completed. I'll tell you, what happens is that all the three conferences, we have three regular conferences, international conferences, which have about 150 to 200 participants from all over the country and about 15 to 20 from abroad. All these conferences are co-organized by students. So there's a committee which has been formed. So the committee organizes. When I say organization, it means first call for papers, getting the papers, of course, coordinating the faculty regarding the vetting of the papers, then the physical organization of the conference itself, including meeting all these academics, bringing the leaders down and having interactions with them, making sure that the sessions work on time. All those things, the entire things are done by this. It's a tremendous exposure for them in terms of meeting and discussing, and even small things like bringing a senior corporate executive from the hotel back to the campus and discussing on the way. These are all great exposures that students are concerned. Apart from the conferences, we also have leadership talks here. We've got a foundation day, an annual leadership talk, and not less than 40 to 50 guest lectures. They are not related to visiting faculty lectures. They are related to general topics, ethics, values, also about management, about things. But what it does is all these also are co-organized or coordinated by the students. Now, when this happens, the students also get an opportunity to meet and discuss and interview, because they have their own magazine. We've got a magazine called Dimensions, which is handled entirely by students. So they publish interviews which they hold with these leaders who come to campus. I think it's a great exercise for them to do this. Apart from that, we encourage them to do their own clubs. They have their Clays Club, their Finance Club, their HR Club, for which also they seek our help in inviting some people. So what happens is we believe in building the manager. So it's not merely the curriculum, it's not merely the projects, it's not merely the cases. It has to be that physically, really in practice, they have to actually develop as managers by organizing events and coordinating. And I think they get enough chances with the campus to do that. As far as scholarship is concerned, even at the entry level, there's a scholarship, in the sense that any student who has got 70 consistently in the 10th standard, the +2, as well as a graduation, is entitled to a scholarship. And any woman candidate who has 60 right through, and is also entitled to a scholarship. So these are entry-level scholarships. Then we have every semester, the top 3 students who perform are given a scholarship. And that is cumulative from term 1 to term 6, because the 2 years are split into 6 trimesters. So each trimester is reckoned separately, and a student who does well will get financial rewards for that. Thirdly, we have a scheme for international travel. See, what happens is we have tie-ups with 15 institutes, and on average, 25 to 30 students are selected for going abroad for a whole term. So what happens is these students go there, spend the whole term. Whatever marks they get in the other institute is imported into our transcript. So it's the same thing that happens when other students come here as well, but we don't have the same numbers for foreign students. But whatever it is, whoever comes here, we are able to give our transcript to them, and they are able to incorporate that. So this is a scholarship for which we give a subsidy. So if it is US, for example, the student gets a 1 lakh subsidy. If it's Europe, they get about 60,000 rupees subsidy. So it is a different graded subsidy for going there. There's no tuition fee for going and studying in the whole term. They get subsidized accommodation in the other place. It is arranged, not quite arranged by the other institute, but they arrange for some subsidized accommodation. So students have to pay for it. But at the same time, after these 3 months, you can see when the tuition fee is not there, and we are also supporting them with this subsidy, it is a real help for them. So that this facility will be available about our aim is to make it available for 25% of the students, but now it's available about 30 of the 180. It's available now. Well, that is the thing about scholarships. And as far as inclusiveness is concerned, I think basically what we think is the whole of the PGDM program is very rigorous. It puts pressure on the students without actually oppressing them too much. So in the sense that we have got our teams, we have got our way of working with our faculty, the teams among themselves. So the recovery, suppose some students don't do well in the initial trimesters, they are able to recover fast enough and do it, because it's a continuous monitoring that happens. And I think that is also helping them in the long run. I'll tell you, just before I answer the question, half a second I will take with my own experience. And what happens is I've been with this institute now for the last 23 years. And one of the great things about being in this institution and being part of it is that the Dharmasthala ethos rubs onto you. It happens subconsciously and it happens consciously as well. So the students who should come, or who actually have a desire to not only have the best of academics, the best of orientation, but also have in the bargain become better personalities. See the great inspiration from seeing a person like Dr. Hegde, or being part of charitable as well as philanthropic operations. Not for everything in life is not for profits. Everything in life is not for what is in it for me. That sort of thing, spirit cannot be actually explained by just one lecture or by one orientation. It has to be believed. So what happens is when students come here, the first thing that we do in the first 15 days is we send them to Dharmasthala. They actually have a study tour to Dharmasthala, where Dr. Hegde himself addresses them. They also see firsthand what is happening there. I think it is that sort of temperamental people who have that in them. I think it is there for every student, really. It is innate in some very dominant in some, but it is there in everybody. But if people are willing to be sensitized, I think SDMIMD is the place for them.